Hello, we are live. I'm Karie Kaufmann, and I'm coming to you this morning from San Diego, and I have a special guest joining me, Abhay Schweitzer, a longtime client and friend, a great businessman who's joining us today. And if you're watching us live today, I'd love to hear where you're joining us from. So feel free to like or comment. I'm going to get the chat going here so I can see if you want to join us and let us know where you're from. While Abhay is in San Diego with me now, he's not originally from San Diego. We sometimes get people from watching from all over the world, so we would love to know where you're from. But what we're going to be talking about today is the real job of a business owner. And the truth is that job changes over time as your business changes. As your business grows and evolves, your role as the CEO also has to grow and evolve along with it. And Abhay, over the years, we've been working together, which I think, gosh, I should have checked this. I think we started in 2014. 2015 maybe,
right.
Something like that. So it's been quite a while. So I've seen a lot of evolutions of your business and of you specifically as a leader that has led to the changes, the dramatic changes in your business. So introduce yourself. Give us just the 10-second introduction of what your business is, so people know, and then we'll take it from there.
Abhay Schweitzer, thank you for having me here. First of all, Karie, and I have a firm called Techne. We are a design firm. We provide architectural design, and we also do our own development projects. Started in 2010, looks a lot different today than it did when I started. And a lot of that is thanks to your help, Karie, and excited to be here with you. From
Awesome.
San Diego, like Karie said, originally from Brazil, but definitely a San Diegan now and love it here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like we got a couple people joining us on LinkedIn, also from San Diego. So we're San Diego heavy at the moment. But if you're watching us live, leave a comment and let us know where you're watching from as well. So now, okay, so Abhay, I met you, I guess, about 4 or 5 years into your entrepreneurial journey. And tell us, what was the first big evolution of your role when you went to kind of doing the business the way you were? Basically built yourself a nice little job, right? Had a little bit of support, but what was the first evolution of when you really started to treat it more like a business?
Well, I think when I first hired my first employee, and really at that time, I didn't have a very big picture. I just realized that I had too much work and not enough time to do it. And I needed somebody else to do some of that work, but I didn't really see it as a change in my role. And then after that, after a while, I realized there were some things I didn't like doing. So I created a list called a hate to do list. And a little bit with your help, I started to prioritize the things I could take off that list, starting with low skill and low enjoyment. And then I hired somebody to do those things, which really kind of revolutionized my role and was the start of me trying to optimize what I was doing as the business owner, transitioning from really an employee of the business, but running it, to more of leading the business step by step.
I remember when you made that list, you brought it to my office and you're like, this is a list of things I never want to do in my business again. Like, yes. I love my business. I love my industry. And there's lots of things about it I enjoy. But if I didn't have to do these things, I'd be really happy. Right. And that was at the time kind of your next level definition of success, was just getting to do the parts of the business you actually enjoyed, which was awesome. And you were fiercely committed to that list. I remember there was a few things you knocked off almost immediately, like within a few weeks or months. And there was one or two little sticklers that really drug on and took, maybe a year or so, maybe longer for, to really get it completely off your plate. But you did it. I also remember the day we celebrated, like, we're done. Like, everything you hate to do has been delegated to or systemized to someone else. So I love your commitment to being really clear on knowing what you don't want is just as important sometimes as knowing what you do want. So that was very cool. And that's a good place to start, right? Getting rid of stuff you don't like doing. And hey, Peter, we got somebody from the UK joining us. Welcome. So yeah, if you're just now joining us, leave us a comment and let us know where in the world you're watching from. Say hello. But yeah, so getting rid of the stuff you hated is a really good start. That freed up some capacity. You grew the business significantly. You grew the profit significantly. And then you ran out of capacity again, right? So what happened next?
As I was growing the business, one of my commitments to myself was to work less hours. And that meant changing some things around for me, not just reducing what I was doing, which I did through the Hey to-do list, through hiring, but also optimizing the systems in our company. So one of the first things I did was create a structure for my company, a future organization chart of my company, how I look like completed. And from that, I strategized which positions do I need to hire now, which positions do I hire later, and slowly we started to fill the company with really qualified people. My team is absolutely amazing. But then after I hired a few people, I realized that I was the system. That doesn't really work well if I don't want to be working 60 hours a week like I used to,
Because
right?
it meant you still were the glue that connected all the people.
That's
Is that
correct.
what you mean by that? Okay.
Exactly. So we started to develop systems and much better tools so that I wasn't the one with all the answers. So my team had a wonderful environment to work in, had the training they needed, had the tools they needed, had the systems they needed, so that I could focus only on what I did best. And that's really sort of the next evolution of me as the business owner, is to optimize my position, give my team all the tools and training and staff that they need so they can run the show. And my role is really the overseer, sort of much more long-term, much more focused on vision and building the team and the team culture than doing the day-to-day service that we provide.
Absolutely. And you've done a fantastic job at that. You're famous amongst my clients for probably taking the most vacations of any of us. Really committed to that vacation schedule, which you've made possible by not allowing the business to be overly reliant on you. So I guess to put it blunt, like you had it pretty good, right? Your business was super profitable. You have a great team. Convenient, enjoyable amount of vacations and leisurely time with your family. So why not stop there, right? That's living the dream, right? That's the life that a lot of entrepreneurs are seeking out. The reason why they go into business in the first place is to have good earning potential, create jobs, work with good people, and also have some time, right? So what happened next? Because that's not where the story ends.
Well, I'm obsessed with the quality of life, not just for me, but for my team as well. And it's really part of the vision of our company is to do great things and live meaningful lives ourselves, right? So for me, in order to really get the most out of my business, I created a vision for my life. And usually I project out 5 years from now. And based on that, I distill down what part does my business play in it. And that led me to create what would be my dream role in the business, my dream job description. So not just having income and having some time for vacation, but what would my optimal job experience be for me as the business owner? And that's what I'm working towards now. So I think it's important, if you don't have a focus on where you're going and exactly what you want your business to do for your quality of life, you're just going to be spinning your wheels, and you may be making money, you may be making great money, you may be taking some vacations, but you're not getting the most out of your life or your business.
Yep, absolutely. So I remember the day that you came to me again. So we're kind of on the level 3 or 3.5 of your evolution in your role. And you're like, I've gone about as far as I can go in my comfort zone. It's time to get uncomfortable. Like, all right, let's step it up. And that's when you actually increase your coaching after 6 or 7 years. Like, we need to be meeting more often. We need to be doing more and like driving full force ahead into not to escape headaches, like not to escape things you don't like anymore, but to get closer to your vision, right? Because those are the two dynamics, the carrot and the stick, the dissatisfaction and the vision. And you're very vision oriented now. But you also, you're devising some ways to keep you uncomfortable enough, right? To keep that fire lit, to keep you from slipping back into like, life is pretty good. Maybe I don't really have to do that right now. So talk about some of those things that you've done to kind of stretch your comfort zone.
Well, I realized pretty early on that we've made all the money we're going to make in our comfort zone. And that may be okay. Some people may be perfectly okay with that, and that's fine. For me, that wasn't really an option because that wasn't getting me to my vision, right? So I made it a point to embrace the discomfort. For when I felt anxious or going into a position or a situation or a meeting or doing an activity that I wasn't fully comfortable with, that I heighten my awareness. So that's where the money is. That's where I need to be doing.
Mm.
I need to be spending the majority of my time in that zone where I'm growing, where I'm doing things that I'm a little anxious and unsure about, but really where there's massive potential. And this year particularly, that's been my major focus. And it's paying off tremendously. Our business is developing major projects now as a developer, which has always been my goal. We're optimizing our service side. But yes, it's uncomfortable, but it's uncomfortable like going on stage if you've ever performed. You get some
Yeah.
anxiety, but that lets you know that, hey, you're getting ready for the big event. So I look at it differently. I embrace it,
Love
and
that.
I realize that's where the money is.
Yep. Yep. And you've done that in your personal life as well, right? Not just in your business, but you've stretched your comfort zone in your personal life. And I'd love to hear you talk about that for a second.
Sure. In my personal life, often growing up, I was a little timid, and I would shy away from experiences that I thought may be uncomfortable for me. And I think that in hindsight, deprived me.
People sometimes do, right?
That's
We only
right.
like to play where we know we
That's
can
right.
win.
And it deprived me of what I think are some amazing experiences. So in my personal goals are some things that I've done, but also when I travel. A couple years ago, I took a trip to Spain, and it was the first trip that I took by myself. It was a week by myself. Then later I met my wife in Portugal. And in that trip, I made a commitment before I went that, hey, if experiences come up that I'm unsure of, I'm going to say yes. I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to just go where I think I'm comfortable.
Mhm.
And I had an amazing experience there. One of my employees happened to be from Spain, and I met up with him and his dad and his grandpa, and they invited me for a bike ride. And I said, this is going to be pretty awesome.
That sounds lovely. A bike ride through Spain. What could be more leisurely than
Yeah.
that?
We'll ride the countryside. This is going to be great, So we started on the bike ride. They gave me all the gear that I needed. They were all kitted out. I'm like, this may be more serious than I anticipated, right? But I was ready. Mentally, I was ready. I got on the bike. And if you've ever ridden a bike where your shoes clip on, you know that sometimes those can be hard to unclip. And this particular bike was set up super tight. Like it was impossible to get the shoes off. When you're on the bike, you were on the bike. So we're riding. My friend's dad tells me, hey, there's a big hill coming up. Just get ready. And I'm like, I appreciate it. Thanks for warning me of the upcoming challenge. But I see him going up the hill, and I'm like, how bad can it be? Well, later I find out he's like a master cyclist, right? And I'm starting to go up this hill, and it's getting bad. And I'm on the lowest gear. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's time to get off and push it. But this road was maybe about 6 feet wide. And on either side, as I'm looking to try to dump the bike, there are thorny bushes. And I can't get my shoes unclipped. So I'm saying, that doesn't look like a good option, right? I can't get off the bike. I can't lay the bike down. I said, let me just put my head down and pump. And it was horrible. And I'm about halfway up the hill, and I look up, and there's a massive tractor waiting to come down. So I'm like, all right, I got to get up the hill now. I got to get out of the way. But that feeling, once I got to the top and conquered that hill, was amazing. And the whole rest of the ride was incredible as well. That's actually where we were riding, not up those rocks, but it was very hilly, and it was absolutely amazing. And I think that goes with what I'm doing with my work too. Sometimes if you don't give yourself the option of getting off that bike, right, and not climbing the hill, you're not going to do the things that you really can do. And every single time when you complete that challenging task, when you get through that uncomfortable situation, you're glad you did it, and you feel good, and you get energized, and you realize it wasn't as bad as you thought. But this hill was as bad as I thought, by the way, but I did it anyways.
Awesome. I love that story. And I love the lesson from it. And for the first time you told me, I think that it happened like several months before you happened to mention it. You're like, oh yeah, that one time when I rode up the hill because I had to. And I was like,
yes.
No, I don't know. But putting yourself in that commitment to stretch your comfort zone. And we've got a few more people joining us. Hi, Foster. Hi, Timothy. Thanks for joining us. Leave us a comment and let us know where you're watching from. So we'd love to hear from you. But as we've been talking about, if you're just tuning in, we've been talking about the evolution of your role as a business owner. and how it has to grow and evolve as your business grows and changes, or your business will get capped. You'll go stagnant.
Yes.
So Abhay shared some of his journey with us about first starting by getting rid of things he hated to do, and then getting rid of things that he liked to do, and now even getting rid of things that he's excellent at, that he's the best in the company, and still delegating those, employing the A players to handle that. So he's just free to focus on the vision, the future of the business, as well as developing the team and empowering them, and make it an amazing place for them to work. And you guys also do some pretty cool projects. I should have had some of your work photos to share. Maybe I can post some of those in the comments, because you do incredible work, beautiful stuff. But any final thoughts that you'd like to share, business owner to business owner, about how they should approach, what's their actual job description for wherever they might be in their business, if they're looking to take it from wherever they are now to whatever the next step might be?
Well, I think the first thing, Karie, is that they should have a job description. And for a long time, for the majority of my business, I didn't have that, which means you're just going to be putting out fires. You're going to be doing what is most urgent. You're going to be reactive to your business. You're not going to be planning your future as it relates to the business. So that's number one, right? In mine, I figured out how many hours do I want to work a week. And I used to work 60 hours. My goal this year is 20 hours. And it doesn't mean that I'm doing less than 20 hours, actually. I'm just hyper focused on what I do and what my role is, on what my sweet spot is. Where is my A game, right? And get rid of all those other things that I may be good at, but I'm not amazing at. And then hire to replace a portion of what I do. And that's what I'm doing now too. And I realize as I'm growing and as we're hiring more people, as you hire really high level positions, you may have to adjust your hiring process. And I've learned that the hard way. But the one thing I will not compromise on is only hiring A players and making sure that that person is compatible with the team culture, with the vision of the company, and with the future of the company, where the company's headed. This is really key, because anybody you bring on needs to do that, but particularly a high level employee. So that's one of my main focuses this year, is to hire a high level project architect to take some of those responsibilities from me, so I can work one-on-one with my team, so I can plan awesome events for us. And we do them many, many times a year. This year, if we hit our goals, hopefully we're going for 3 days to Valle de Guadalupe, Mexico. And I know we're going to do that. Everybody's excited, particularly me. And then doing the other things that I do well, which is putting together these real estate deals, right? Solving the really challenging problems that we're faced with, designing, which I absolutely love, and just that. So back to the role as a business owner, just think about, what do you really want to do in your business? And for everything else, you can implement a system, you can hire the right people, and you really shouldn't settle for, coming to work and not being happy. And don't let your team settle for that either. Create an environment, a culture, a setting where everybody's getting the most and they're having an awesome quality of life while working at your company.
Awesome. Yeah, such good advice. And I appreciate you as a client, but also as an example of how far you've come in your role as a business owner, what you've been willing to let go of, and also what you've been willing to learn, right? Because as much stuff as you've had to take off your plate, you've had to learn new skills, how to be a better leader, how to run better meetings, how to have better systems, how to cast a clearer vision for the team to engage within and help, join together to help you fulfill. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. Thank you for those of us, if you're joining live, or even if you're catching the recording later, we'd love to hear your top takeaways from this, or if you have lessons you've learned, if you're on an entrepreneur role and there's lessons that you've learned about things you've had to let go of or things you've had to learn and grow in, we'd love to hear your comments and your suggestions as well. But for now, I'll say, Abhay, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your experience with us. Super valuable for everybody watching. And I just, it's an honor and a pleasure to work with you for so long. And I will see you soon in my office.
Yes, equally. Thanks everybody for joining. If you liked anything that I said, please let Karie know through the comments. Appreciate your time, and thank you for inviting me, Karie.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for joining.